In a quiet suburban town, Michael and his golden retriever Buddy shared a bond built on years of shared trails and quiet sunsets. Having raised Buddy from a puppy, Michael was the center of the dog's world. Their daily life revolved around the local train station. Every morning, Buddy escorted Michael to the platform. Before boarding, Michael would always kneel down, scratch Buddy behind the ears, and promise to see him that evening. The evening reunion was the emotional peak of Buddy's day. He would return to the station just as the sun dipped, standing at the edge of the platform to watch the train doors slide open. For Buddy, the station functioned as the one place on Earth where his world righted itself, the specific point in space where Michael always materialized back into existence. One rainy morning began like any other. Buddy trotted through the drizzle, felt Michael's final pat on the head, and watched the train pull away. Later that day at work, Michael suffered a sudden medical emergency. He never made it to the return train. When the evening train arrived, Buddy's tail was already in motion. But as the crowd thinned and the platform eventually fell silent, Michael was nowhere to be found. Buddy remained in his spot, watching the tracks until long after the station lights dimmed. He refused to go home that night. Without a goodbye to mark the end of the day, Buddy lacked the context to understand why the routine had broken, leaving him anchored to the last place he had seen his friend. That first night stretched into a week, then a month. Buddy became a permanent fixture of the station, his internal clock still synced to the arrival of the city trains. This chart tracks Buddy's behavioral loop. A distant whistle triggered hypervigilance, crashing into disappointment when Michael wasn't there. As this loop repeats and a counter climbs past a year, the community intervened, providing treats, water, and a sheltered area. Buddy accepted the food and the occasional pat on the head, but his focus never drifted from the rails. He used the town's resources to survive, but didn't let them distract him from his post. With dozens of people checking on him daily, Buddy stayed in a world of his own. He was physically surrounded by a town that cared for him, yet he remained emotionally isolated, waiting for a passenger who wasn't coming. By year 5, the vigil had taken a visible toll. Gray fur covered his muzzle, and his joints had grown stiff from winters spent on the cold concrete. He moved slowly now, his once excited trot reduced to a weary, deliberate walk. One winter evening, a blizzard drove most people indoors. The platform was a desert of white and wind, but Buddy still sat in his usual spot, his coat dusted with snow. Sarah, a station worker who had watched Buddy age over the last half-decade, wrapped a heavy wool blanket around his shoulders. She stayed with him for a moment, whispering a question about his weight into the wind. 1,800 days had worn down Buddy's body, but his internal hope remained untouched. The passage of time simply hadn't been enough to erode his expectation. The 5-year cycle was finally interrupted by a woman who arrived carrying an old photograph of a younger Michael and an energetic Buddy. She was Michael's sister. After seeing Buddy's story shared online, she had traveled back to the town to find the dog her brother had loved so much. When she knelt beside him, Buddy didn't react at first. His eyesight was failing, and she was just another stranger. But then, a dormant, familiar scent reached him. Buddy's tail began to thump against the platform for the first time in years. Recognition flooded back. When she spoke his name, he finally stood up and prepared to leave the station with the only person who still carried the scent of his home. He hadn't given up on Michael. He had simply found a reason to move forward. By following her home, he was finally stepping away from the platform and back into the life of a family dog. Buddy spent his final years in a home filled with Michael's old things, sleeping soundly and no longer feeling the need to watch the clock for the evening train. To honor his 5-year vigil, the town installed this bronze statue at his exact waiting spot. It serves as a permanent marker of the spot where he stood for nearly 2,000 days. Buddy's story traveled around the world as a testament to a simple truth. The most enduring forms of love don't require a single word to be understood. If you had been a commuter at that station, would you have stopped to visit Buddy? Let us know in the comments. Hit the like button and subscribe for more stories. And remember to give your pets an extra hug today.